Jake Paul rolls over Mike Perry with dominant 6th-round TKO win. Jake Paul immediately started plugging his upcoming bout against 58-year-old Mike Tyson in November. It wasn't the fight he initially planned for, but Jake Paul delivered again on Saturday night. The former YouTuber and Disney Channel star absolutely dominated BFFC star Mike Perry in their bout at Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. Paul, after coming up with a pair of knockdowns right off the bat, picked up a 6th-round TKO win after he sent Perry stumbling into the corner with a huge jab and a left hook. "He's tough as nails," Paul said in the ring after his win. "I'm sorry it took so long. I just hit too hard, but he took a lot of damage. That's a W, baby. I'm so excited." Paul nearly delivered on his promise of an early knockout to get the night started. He delivered a huge blow to Perry's head not even a minute into the match that sent Perry flying to the ground. Though he bounced right back up, that set the tone and gave Paul the early advantage. Paul landed a second knockdown right away in the second round too, after finding a clear lane to Perry's head. That left Perry dazed even as he stood back up, and a cut over Perry's eye started bleeding later in the round. Perry struggled to protect his face, and he even threw Paul down to the mat out of frustration just before the second round ended. Paul looked like he was going to win it in the fourth, after he backed Perry into the corner multiple times without much pushback.
But he was spent. He was stumbling repeatedly, struggled to guard his face, and couldn't do much of anything. So when Paul delivered a flurry of punches in the 6th round, it was over.
The days leading up to Saturday's fight were, well, pretty ridiculous. Perry attacked a mascot in a deodorant costume. Paul showed up to a news conference wearing a graduation cap making fun of Perry for attending private school, and more. Paul came out into the ring dressed as some sort of gladiator while riding in a chariot carried by other gladiators, too, with his older brother and others in his entourage. But, as far as opponents go, Perry was one of the best that Paul has faced, at least on paper. Perry was an MMA fighter before he took off in the bare knuckle fighting championship. He held a 14-8 record in MMA, where he last fought in 2021, and he's a perfect 5-0 in the BFFC. At 32, he's still very much in his prime athletic-wise, and he's closer to a legitimate boxer than others Paul has faced in the past. The loss seemed to upset Conor McGregor.
Claimed to fire Perry from the league on social media, though it's unknown if he has any power to actually do so. Paul entered the night with a 9-1 record with 6 KOs, though most of his wins came against relative non-boxers and other YouTubers. He won his first 6 fights before Tommy Fury beat him in February 2023, though he responded with a win over former UFC star Nate Diaz a few months later. He's won 3 times since his loss to Fury, including back-to-back co-wins.